Well, it's almost like another week goes by and we hear something more about Pink Floyd in the news. So this week was no different in that Roger Waters has announced that he'll be coming out with a reimagination of The Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd's 1973 hit record. This is over the top of the prior announcement that Pink Floyd themselves will be officially remixing that album and releasing that for the 50th anniversary in March. Now, what we know about this particular announcement, it is really at the root of it because Roger Waters feels that he wants to so-called take ownership back of the record, back from his former bandmates. And the actual project itself, what we're hearing about is that it does have Gus Surfett involved in the exercise. Breathes is going to be a much more acoustic style of a song. Money will have a more of a country tinge, and there will be a spoken word poem for On the Run. So there's little tidbits that we're hearing about, but one does feel as if there is, I guess, another missile being thrown in the whole Gilmour-Waters feud. In fact, in addition to all of that, we've heard that Roger Waters has actually come out and done a speech to the UN just recently and taking an anti-Ukraine position on the Ukraine-Russian war. There is a load to unpack here, mate. What are you thinking of all of this?
Yeah, look, mate, I know you're a massive Pink Floyd fan, and look, I got into Pink Floyd through the album Animals, but my understanding, this kind of rift between the band is coming up to, well, it probably is longer than 40 years, which is as long as I've been alive. I'm interested in the fact that this album has apparently been recorded in secret without Dave Gilmour and Nick Mason knowing about. So I think that's a very interesting point. And he's basically come out to say that he wanted to re-record the classic album because not enough people recognise what it's about and what he was trying to say then. Mate, what do you think this album is going to be like, first of all? And is it a valid reason to re-record the album, the fact that Roger Waters simply didn't believe that his message was really understood on the original take? What are your thoughts?
Oh, look, I think they're great questions, and I think that the sample that we do have, and we've got a video on this, is the reimagination of Comfortably Numb, which was basically taking effectively using the same lyrics, but it had much darker undertones. I would suspect, we've been given some information right about the songs that we know about, Breathe, Money and On the Run. I can only see that they will take a much more of a modern undertone, so they'll become a little bit more darker in their meaning. This is Roger Waters and what he tends to do with things. But it is, for me, a really around the what is the point of all of this, and I just cannot see why he would be looking to do this other than to, make a statement against his former band members. It seems that the relationship was looking all right back in 2005 when they got together and did the Live 8 concert, and that was before Rick Wright died. 2011, I believe, and I might be corrected on that, I know that Dave Gilmour did do a cameo at one of Roger Waters' concerts. So again, the relationship looked all right, but it feels like it's just basically deteriorated since then. It's back to what it was when he left the band in 1985. So I sort of see this as being an exercise more in vanity. The guy's 79. I just sort of feel as if they need to. They've run out of time, I guess, making up. I guess so be it. But it just feels as if these things don't need to be played out in the public so much.
Yeah, and look, he really has kind of come out to say, for those people who are going to call this kind of like faux Floyd, as he told the Telegraph, and I do quote here from the NME web article, He wrote I wrote Dark Side of the Moon. Let's get rid of all this we crap. Of course we were a band and there were 4 of us. We all contributed, but this is my project and I wrote it. So maybe he does have a potential valid reason to re-record it in a way that he believes he kind of wish he had, or maybe he wants to put a 2023 stamp on it. I don't know. One interesting side note, mate, that I believe, other than Gus Seifert recording on this album too, a Baptist minister is going to be on this album who plays the Hammond organ. I don't know much about that. I'm just kind of having a look on the web articles here, mate. That could be interesting, though.
Look, and look, his whole argument around that, well, look, his strength, I think we talk about strengths, right? And Roger Waters' strength was clearly in creating the vision, writing the lyrics. You know, if he wasn't a musician, he'd probably be an engineer, right? I think that Dave Gilmour and the others in the band brought much of their creativity in their instrumentation ship, if that's a word. But Roger Waters has effectively just poured cold water on that to effectively say that has nothing to contribute to the creative process, which I think is nonsense. I think it certainly does, and one can only listen to the Roger Waters solo albums, which I haven't listened to a lot, but there is, and also the Final Cut, by the way, the very last Roger Waters Pink Floyd album, and it really just, there is something missing. It's Roger Waters trying to do everything, and I think that's what was part of the special mix that was Pink Floyd. They had lots of creative elements that were all in as part of it, and that's what made them who they were. And I think that this is Roger Waters. I just think really, again, trying to create a fight when maybe there just doesn't need to be one.
Yeah, that's really well said, mate. I don't think this album's going to trouble the scoreboard in terms of album sales too much. Is there anything else you wanted to say about this, mate? I mean, it'll be interesting.
Well, look, the only final thing is whether it's a little bit ambush marketing too. So whether it will be released on the 50th anniversary of the Dark Side of the Moon album. So what we could be faced with is 2 Dark Side of the Moon albums released on a single day. That wraps up another episode of Indie Miners. Please look to subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, and let us know if there's an album you would like us to look at. So until next time, bye for now, and thank you for watching.